It's another quarterly Christmas, and Tesla has definitely given its investors a huge gift. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 611 for July 23rd, 2020. This show is sponsored by my supporter Richard. If you're in the market for a new Tesla, please consider using his referral code. Ask your salesperson to use code Richard174 or go direct to the web link ts.la/Richard174 and pick up a 1,000 mile supercharging credit for your new vehicle. Well, Tesla not only did what most thought impossible, but they did it somewhat comfortably. Ladies and gentlemen, Tesla has now made 4 straight profitable quarters, despite a once-in-a-100-years pandemic event shutting down its most productive factory for half the quarter. Tesla posted a GAAP profit of $104 million for the quarter on roughly $6 billion in revenue. The company increased its cash on hand by $535 million, increasing its war chest to $8.6 billion. The automotive gross margin, an important metric for Tesla, was at 25.4%, roughly identical to last quarter. It should be noted that the margin has increased dramatically since Q2 the prior year, when it was only 18.9%. The company's overall GAAP operating margin for the quarter was 5.4%, and for the trailing 12 months, it has reached nearly 5%. With the financial bits out of the way, other interesting bits from the investor letter included announcing that they've selected a location for the next Gigafactory, though they didn't say where it was in the letter, but we'll get to that in the call. Alright, with all that said, let's let Elon take over and tell us about the remarkable quarter that just passed. First up are Elon's opening remarks and Tesla's impressive performance against the rest of the industry for vehicle deliveries.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Tesla team for exceptional execution in the second quarter, despite tremendous difficulties. They've done an incredible job, and it's an honor to work with such a great team. There were so many challenges, too numerous to name, but they got it done, and just what a great group to work with. Like I said, it's just an honor to work with such a great team. And as a result, we were able to achieve our 4th consecutive profitable quarter. And although the automotive industry was down about 30% year over year in the first half of the year, we managed to grow deliveries in the first half of the year. So despite that massive industry decline, we actually went up.
Not only was Tesla up, but it was up big. The investor letter clarifies this, showing a graph with Tesla posting what looks to be about a 13% year-over-year gain in deliveries for the first half. Their nearest competitors, Kia and Mercedes, showed what appeared to be a 20% and 21% reduction in deliveries, respectively. That's something to behold right there. Tesla was the only auto manufacturer worldwide to show year-over-year growth in the first half of this year. Amazing. Moving on to the next topic, as I mentioned earlier, Elon finally lets the cat out of the bag on where the next Gigafactory will be located. But let's be honest, we all knew this was coming.
We're also very excited to announce that we're going to be building our next Gigafactory in Texas. It's going to be right near Austin. It's it'll be about. I'll just go into a bit of detail on this, and then I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. But the location is 5 minutes from Austin International Airport and 15 minutes from downtown Austin, and it's about 2,000 acres. And we're going to make it, I think, a factory that is going to be stunning. It's right on the Colorado River, so we're actually going to have a boardwalk where there'll be a hiking, biking trail. It's going to basically be an ecological paradise. Birds in the trees, butterflies, fish in the stream, and it'll be open to the public as well. So not closed and only Tesla. So if anyone's interested in working at Giga Texas, with engineering, production, whatever the case may be, please let us know. This is we're going to be doing a major factory there, and it's also where we'll be doing Cybertruck there, the Tesla Semi, and we'll be doing Model 3 and Y for the eastern half of North America. Now, at the same time, I want to say we will continue to grow in California, but we expect California to do Model S and X for worldwide consumption, and 3 and Y for the western half of North America. And then we think probably also the Tesla Roadster a future program would also make sense in California. So I think this is a nice split between Texas and California. And just to emphasize, we'll continue to grow in California, but we'll be creating a massive factory and Cybertruck and semi programs in Texas. So, and I also want to just do a shout out to Tulsa, and just say thank you very much to the Tulsa team, the economic development team, and the governor. Really, I was super impressed. The whole Tesla team was super impressed, and we will for sure strongly consider Tulsa for future expansion of Tesla down the road.
So not only is a factory coming, but seemingly a public park of some sort? Really nifty idea to sort of give back to the area as part of the investment in the community Tesla needs to show to qualify for some of the tax breaks it's about to receive. I have to say, though, I feel really, really bad for Tulsa. It's clear they wanted the factory in the worst way, and they poured their souls into the effort. It's striking that we didn't see near the effort from Austin, but they won the contest. Lastly, from Elon's intro, a word on full self-driving progress.
And then for full self-driving, we launched traffic lights and stop signs, and we continue to improve that and make it more robust. And we're currently testing full self-driving software for intersections and city streets and narrow streets. So I personally test the latest alpha build of the full self-driving software when I drive my car, and it is really, I think, profoundly better than people realize. Yeah, really profoundly better. It's like amazing. So it's almost getting to the point where I can go from my house to work with no interventions, despite going through construction and widely varying situations. So this is why I'm very confident about full self-driving functionality being complete by the end of this year. It's because I'm literally driving it.
So Elon continues to reiterate that full self-driving will be feature complete before the year is out. I personally am only giving this a 40% chance of happening. While tremendous progress has been made, we're not really done with handling traffic control devices just yet. The system is still learning and still requiring the user in most instances to confirm that the system has properly identified the traffic control it is approaching. The system cannot yet even proceed forward through an intersection, let alone make a turn. And all this doesn't even account for the fact that the entire system is going through a fundamental rewrite that hasn't yet been deployed. Which leads us to our next clip, where Elon discusses the next important milestones of full self-driving and when he believes we'll see them.
The actual major milestone that's happening right now is really a transition of the autonomy system, or the cars, like AI, if you will, from thinking about things in like code like 2.5D. It's like it's basically taking like isolated pictures and doing image recognition on pictures that are partially correlated in time, but not very well. And transitioning to kind of a 4D where it's like which is video essentially. You're thinking about the world in 3 dimensions, and the 4th dimension being time. So that architectural change, which has been underway for some time, but has not really been rolled out to anyone in the production fleet, is what really matters for full self-driving. So what we've been doing thus far is really just been with like 2D, mostly 2D, and like I said, not well correlated in time. So it's just hard to convey just how much better a fully 4D system would work. It does work. It's capable of things that if you're just looking at things as individual pictures as opposed to video, like basically like you go from like individual pictures to surround video. This is fundamental. So the car will seem to have just like a giant improvement. I know, probably roll it out later this year. But we'll be able to do traffic lights, stop, turns, trucks, everything, pretty much. And then it will be a long march of nines, essentially. How many nines of reliability are okay? So it'll definitely be way better than human, but how much better than human does it need to be? So that's actually going to be the real work. There's just a massive amount of work with each kind of order of magnitude of reliability.
Indeed, those nines are deceptively difficult because each one of them is a massive leap forward. I work in the IT space, and the nines are frequently referenced as a value of uptime for a given product. 5 nines, or 99.999% uptime, is basically the standard most vendors strive for. But what that means is that in a given year, that product can only see at most 5 minutes 15 seconds of downtime. For context, if you go to only 4 nines, or 99.99% uptime, suddenly you're afforded 52 minutes 36 seconds of downtime for the year. And going to just 99.9% reliability gives you a relatively luxurious 8 hours 46 minutes of downtime for the year. You can see how quickly the bar is raised as you add even more nines to whatever reliability you're aiming for. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt where the hard work is, to be sure. The next juicy tidbit comes from a retail investor question asking what the real limiting factor on Tesla's growth is. As we have known for some time, and what many other legacy auto manufacturers are finding out the hard way, it's making battery cells at an affordable cost.
The real limitation on Tesla growth is cell production at an affordable price. That's the real limit. That's why we're going to talk about a lot more about this on Battery Day, because this is the fundamental scaling constraint, and any part of that supply chain or processing at the cell level will be the limiting factor. So, whatever it may be, anywhere from mining to refining, and there's many steps on the refining to cathode and anode formation, cell formation. Whatever the choke point is, that will set the growth rate. And so, we expect to expand our business with Panasonic, with CATL, with LG, possibly with others, and there's a lot more to say on that front on Battery Day.
Elon definitely whetting the appetite for Battery Day in that soundbite. Interestingly, the next question is on why the standard range Model Y was killed, but Elon leads off sort of continuing his last thought, and it truly underscores the difficulties that even Tesla has in building battery cells as one of the most prolific EV manufacturers in the world, let alone other manufacturers that produce far lower volumes of EVs.
Well, I'd just like to reemphasize, any mining companies out there, please mine more nickel. Okay. Wherever you are in the world, please mine more nickel, and don't wait for nickel to go back to some high point that you experienced some 5 years ago or whatever. Go for efficient, obviously environmentally friendly nickel mining at high volume. If Tesla will give you a giant contract for a long period of time if you mine nickel efficiently and in an environmentally sensitive way. So hopefully this message goes out to all mining companies. Please get nickel. With regard to passenger vehicles, I think the new normal for range is going to be, just in US EPA terms, approximately 300 miles. So I think people will really come to expect that as some number close to 300 miles as normal. That's a standard expectation. Because you do need to take into account, is it very hot outside or very cold, or are you driving up a tall mountain with a full load? and it's people don't want to have get to the destination with like 10 miles of range. They want some reasonable margin. So I think 300 is going to be or close to 300 is going to be the new normal.
You'll recall back on episode 609 when I covered the cancellation of the standard range Model Y that I had another prediction with that cancellation, and that was that in the near future there won't be a standard range or standard range plus Model 3 anymore either. Elon has essentially said this without saying it here. I'd be willing to bet a 20 spot that those cars are gone before the year is out. We round out the show with an interesting look at the company's philosophy. We all know the mission statement of the company is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. However, we get to see here just how true that is and why we see these seemingly random price drops on the vehicles from Tesla.
There's value for money that a product has, and then there's affordability. And even if you rail value for money and have value for money like infinite, if people do not have enough money in the bank account to buy the car, they simply cannot. So then you just have this like awesome thing that nobody can buy. So it is important to make the car affordable. We will not succeed in our mission if we do not make the cars affordable. Like the thing that bugs me the most about where we are right now is that our cars are not affordable enough. We need to fix that. So we're all making progress in that regard. Just sort of steadily making progress. Like we need to, not go bankrupt. Obviously, that's important because that will fail in our mission. But we're not trying to be super profitable either. Obviously, we're like, profitability is like 1% or something. This 1 or 2%. It's not crazy. Last quarter was only 0.1%. So we want to be profitable. Like I think we want to be like slightly profitable and maximize growth and make the cars as affordable as possible. That's like what we're trying to achieve.
That will do it for today's show. As always on these shows, I hope you enjoyed the information I brought you and the sound clips directly from the earnings call. Thanks to all my patrons supporting the show at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits, and as always a special shout out to all the super patrons supporting the show at the $10 plus level. They are Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse, Todd Sullivan, Mitch Long, Zortek LED Canada, Morvan Ogg, Raymond and Deborah Malkowitz, T Sportline, Vicky Kirk, Ricky Johnston, Nathan Garza, Ed Patterman, Sunil Joseph, Joy Rodriguez, and Brad Lettner. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits and use the hashtag AskTeslaTidbits if you'd like your question to be considered for the show. Until next time, keep it charged and hit the road.